Sam Mitchell was a 54-year-old man living in Santa Clarita, California. He owned a pest control company called Mitchell Pest Solutions, which was well known in the community. Sam was known for his bright personality and his love for 19th century Western art. He often visited local art galleries and attended art shows, where he was a familiar face. Sam lived in a nice suburban house with his wife, Danielle Peters Mitchell. They had been married for 22 years. Danielle was 46 years old and worked as an accountant. Their marriage had its ups and downs, mainly because Sam was very private about his personal life, even with his wife. Despite the issues and rumors of Sam cheating, Danielle was always loyal to Sam. Sam was known for being kind and generous. He often donated to local charities and supported community events. People in the neighborhood liked him a lot. He had a large circle of friends who admired him for his cheerful and friendly nature. Sam had a dream of expanding his business and opening new branches in other cities. He also wanted to buy a new piece of art for his collection. Just a few days before his death, he was excited about a business deal and was planning to attend an auction of Western art in Fort Worth, Texas. On October 10, 2021, Sam spent the day meeting with clients and planning his next business moves. That evening, he had dinner with his wife and their two college-age kids at a popular restaurant in Santa Clarita called the Old Spaghetti Factory. They talked about their future and their plans for the holidays. Sam seemed happy and was looking forward to the upcoming weeks. Sam Mitchell was a successful businessman, a loving husband and father, and a beloved member of his community. He had big dreams and a bright future ahead of him, which made his tragic death even more heartbreaking. On the morning of October 15, 2021, at around 8 a.m., Sam Mitchell's body was discovered by his longtime friend and business associate, Mark Stevenson. Mark had known Sam for over 10 years, and often stopped by his house to discuss business matters. That morning, Mark was supposed to meet Sam to talk about a new pest control contract with a big client. Mark arrived at Sam's suburban house in Santa Clarita, which was located on Oakwood Avenue, a quiet street. When Sam did not answer the door, Mark found it strange. He knew Sam was always punctual and never missed a meeting. After knocking several times without any response, Mark decided to use the spare key Sam had given him for emergencies. As Mark entered the house, he immediately felt something was wrong. The house was unusually quiet. Mark called out Sam's name but got no reply. He walked into the living room, where he found a scene that would haunt him forever. Sam was lying on the floor in a pool of blood. There were clear signs of a violent struggle, with furniture overturned and blood splattered on the walls. Sam had multiple stab wounds, and it was clear he had fought hard before he died. Mark was in shock. His hands trembled as he pulled out his phone to call 911. The emergency operator answered, and Mark, struggling to keep his voice steady, explained what he had found. The operator instructed him to stay on the line and wait for the police and paramedics to arrive. Mark felt a mix of fear, sadness, and disbelief. He couldn't understand how something so horrible could happen to his friend. While waiting for the authorities, Mark tried to compose himself. He checked to see if there were any signs of life in Sam, but it was clear that he was gone. Mark sat on the couch, looking around the room and trying to make sense of the chaos. He noticed Sam's favorite painting on the wall, a piece of 19th century Western art, now stained with blood. The police and paramedics arrived within minutes. Mark met them at the door and led them to the living room. The paramedics confirmed that Sam was dead, and the police began securing the crime scene. Mark gave his statement to police. His detailed account would later be crucial in the investigation that followed. The police arrived at Sam Mitchell's house quickly after Mark Stevenson called 911 on the morning of October 15, 2021. Detective Tara Howard, known for her keen eye for detail, led the investigation. She was accompanied by her partner, Detective Mike Ramirez, who was also experienced in handling serious crimes. As they entered the suburban house on Oakwood Avenue, they were met with a gruesome scene. The living room was in disarray, with furniture overturned and blood splattered on the walls and floor. Sam's body lay in the middle of the room, surrounded by evidence of a violent struggle. The detectives knew they had a challenging case ahead. Detective Howard and Ramirez began by examining the crime scene. The first thing they noticed was the multiple stab wounds on Sam's body. It was clear he had fought hard for his life. Near the body, they found the murder weapon, a large kitchen knife covered in blood. They carefully collected it as evidence, making sure not to disturb any potential fingerprints. Forensic experts arrived shortly after to help with the investigation. They used advanced tools to gather fingerprints, blood samples, and other clues from the scene. They took photographs of the entire area, documenting the position of every piece of furniture and every bloodstain. The team worked methodically, ensuring they did not miss any vital evidence. Detective Howard questioned Mark Stevenson, who had discovered the body. Mark described the scene he found and his actions afterward. His detailed account helped the detectives piece together the initial timeline of events. They learned that Sam had planned to meet Mark that morning, which made them wonder who else might have known about the meeting. The detectives then turned their attention to the rest of the house. They found no signs of forced entry, suggesting that Sam might have known his attacker. This information was crucial, as it narrowed down the list of potential suspects. They also found Sam's cell phone on the kitchen counter, which they took as evidence. They hoped it would provide clues about who Sam had been in contact with before his death. Outside the house, news vans from local TV stations like KTLA and ABC7 had started to gather. The shocking murder of a well-known local businessman was big news. Reporters tried to get statements from the police and neighbors, but Detective Howard declined to comment, saying the investigation was still in its early stages. By the end of the day, the detectives had collected a significant amount of evidence, but many questions remained. Who would want to kill Sam Mitchell, and why? The investigation was just beginning, and Detective Howard and her team knew they had a long road ahead. The first person the police investigated was Danielle Peters Mitchell, Sam's wife of 22 years. Danielle, who was 46 years old, worked as an accountant at a law firm in the San Fernando Valley. She was known for being meticulous and detail-oriented, traits that made her good at her job. Despite her calm exterior, Danielle was deeply affected by Sam's death. On the afternoon of October 16, 2021, Danielle was brought in for questioning. Detective Tara Howard led the interrogation. Danielle appeared composed but was clearly upset. She told the detectives that she and Sam had a complicated relationship. Though they had their differences, she loved him deeply. Danielle revealed that Sam had been involved in a secret relationship with a much younger man named Kevin Lawrence. This revelation shocked the detectives. Danielle explained that she had found out about the affair a few months earlier and that it had put a significant strain on their marriage. She also revealed that Sam had recently tested positive for AIDS, which had added to the tension between them. The detectives asked Danielle about her whereabouts on the night of the murder. She claimed she was at home, watching TV, and working on some paperwork. She mentioned that she had watched the latest episode of NCIS on CBS, America's #1 show at the time, and had gone to bed around 10 p.m. Her calm demeanor during the interrogation was notable. She seemed cooperative and willing to help the investigation in any way she could. The police also asked Danielle about any financial issues she and Sam might have had. Danielle explained that they were financially stable and had no significant money problems. She denied any involvement in Sam's death, saying that while she was hurt by his affair, she would never harm him. Despite her cooperation, the detectives couldn't ignore the motive of jealousy and betrayal. Danielle's revelation about Sam's affair and his illness added layers to the investigation. They decided to check her alibi and look for any other evidence that might link her to the crime. The detectives also collected Danielle's phone records and financial statements to see if they could find any discrepancies or suspicious activity. They wanted to be thorough, ensuring no detail was overlooked. The investigation into Danielle was intense, but the police knew they had to explore all possible angles to find the truth. Danielle's calm yet emotional demeanor left the detectives with mixed feelings. Was she a grieving widow or a jealous spouse capable of murder? The investigation continued as the detectives searched for answers. Next, the police turned their attention to Kevin Lawrence, the man named by Danielle as Sam's lover. Kevin was a 21-year-old struggling artist living in West Hollywood. He had moved to California from a small town in Iowa, hoping to make a name for himself in the art world. To support himself, he worked as a gigolo. This was how he met Sam Mitchell. On October 17, 2021, Kevin was brought in for questioning at the Santa Clarita Police Station. Detective Mike Ramirez led the interrogation, wanting to understand Kevin's relationship with Sam. Kevin was visibly nervous but cooperative. He admitted to having an affair with Sam and said they had been seeing each other for about a year. Kevin described Sam as kind and supportive. Sam had helped him financially on several occasions, paying for his art supplies and rent. Despite their significant age difference, Kevin felt a strong connection to Sam. He claimed he loved Sam and that their relationship was worth more than the financial support Sam gave to him. However, he was also aware of the strain their relationship put on Sam's marriage to Danielle. The detectives asked Kevin about his whereabouts on the night of the murder. Kevin stated that he was at his apartment, working on a new painting. He said he had ordered takeout from a local Chinese restaurant, Panda Express, and had spent the evening alone. The detectives noted his calm demeanor but were aware that Kevin had a lot to lose if the truth came out about his relationship with Sam. Police also discovered Kevin had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which sometimes made his emotions difficult to control. He insisted, however, that he would never harm Sam. Kevin's financial struggles and his reliance on Sam for support added a potential motive for the police to consider. To verify his alibi, the detectives collected Kevin's phone records and spoke to his neighbors. They wanted to see if anyone could confirm that Kevin had been at home that night. They also looked into Kevin's financial records to check if there had been any unusual transactions. Despite Kevin's cooperation, the police couldn't ignore the possibility that he might have had a role in Sam's death. His relationship with Sam and his financial dependency on him made him a person of interest. The detectives continued to investigate, looking for any evidence that could either confirm or disprove Kevin's involvement. Kevin's turbulent emotional state made him a complex figure in the investigation. The detectives knew they needed to dig deeper to understand his role in Sam's life, and possibly in his death. The third suspect in the investigation was Rick Gallagher, a 45-year-old real estate developer. Rick was wealthy and ambitious, known for his ruthless business tactics. He had worked with Sam's pest control company on several projects, and their professional relationship had always been tense. However, there were rumors of a sexual connection between them as well. On October 18, 2021, the police brought Rick in for questioning. Detective Tara Howard took the lead. Rick was confident and composed, but there was a hint of nervousness in his eyes. He admitted that he and Sam had a complex relationship, both professionally and personally. Rick revealed that he and Sam had been lovers, something he had kept secret for fear of damaging his reputation. This was a shocking revelation for the detectives, adding another layer of intrigue to the case. Rick also disclosed that he had recently tested positive for AIDS, which he believed he had contracted from Sam. This news had devastated him, and he was struggling to come to terms with it. The detectives asked Rick about his whereabouts on the night of Sam's murder. Rick claimed he was at a business dinner at the Palm, a high-end steakhouse in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles. He provided the names of several colleagues who could confirm his alibi. The detectives made a note to follow up with these individuals. Rick's motive for the murder was clear. He was angry and felt betrayed by Sam. The detectives needed to determine if his anger had driven him to commit the crime. They checked Rick's financial records and phone logs, looking for any evidence of foul play. They also examined his interactions with Sam in the weeks leading up to the murder. Rick's behavior during the interrogation was mostly calm, but he became defensive when asked about his feelings toward Sam. He insisted that while he was hurt and angry, he would never resort to violence. He expressed his frustration over the situation and his desire to move on. The detectives left the interrogation room with more questions than answers. Rick's relationship with Sam and his recent diagnosis made him a prime suspect, but they needed solid evidence to link him to the crime. They decided to dig deeper into his background and his recent activities. Rick's ambitious nature and his feelings of betrayal made him a compelling figure in the investigation. The detectives knew they had to explore every angle to uncover the truth about Sam's murder. Hey, true crime case solvers interested in more real-life murder mysteries, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And do you have any thoughts about this case or have a case of your own you'd like us to investigate? Leave us a comment. Stay safe, true crime case solvers. On October 20, 2021, a crucial piece of evidence emerged. It was a rainy Wednesday morning when the police received a call from a neighbor who lived a few houses down from Sam. The neighbor mentioned finding something suspicious in her backyard, a bloody shirt. Detectives Tara Howard and Mike Ramirez quickly arrived at Mrs. Green's house on Oakwood Avenue. They carefully collected the shirt, making sure to preserve any potential evidence. The shirt appeared to be a men's size, and the bloodstains suggested it had been worn during the murder. This new evidence was taken to the forensics lab for analysis. The detectives were eager to learn more about the shirt. They hoped it would contain DNA that could point them to the murderer. The forensics team worked swiftly, and within hours they had results. The blood on the shirt matched Sam Mitchell's blood type. More importantly, the DNA on the collar and sleeves provided a match to Danielle Peters Mitchell, Sam's wife. Detective Howard and Ramirez discussed the findings. The new evidence cast a dark shadow over Danielle's claims of innocence. The detectives decided to bring her in for another round of questioning. This time, they had solid evidence linking her to the crime scene. On October 21, 2021, Danielle was brought back to the police station. She appeared anxious as she sat down in the interrogation room. Detective Howard presented the bloody shirt and the DNA evidence. Danielle's composure began to crack. She claimed she didn't know how her DNA ended up on the shirt and insisted she was being framed. The detectives pressed her for more details, asking about her actions on the night of the murder. Danielle's story started to change. She admitted that she and Sam had argued that night about his affair with Kevin Lawrence. She claimed that Sam became violent, and she acted in self-defense. However, the detectives found holes in her story. The evidence suggested a premeditated attack rather than an act of self-defense. With the new evidence in hand, the detectives were more convinced of Danielle's involvement. They re-examined the financial records and discovered that Danielle had recently taken out a large life insurance policy on Sam. This provided a strong motive for the murder. The discovery of the bloody shirt and the subsequent DNA analysis were pivotal in the investigation. The detectives were now closer to uncovering the truth. Danielle's increasingly inconsistent statements and the mounting evidence pointed to her as the prime suspect in Sam's murder. The police continued to dig deeper into the evidence against Danielle Peters Mitchell. On October 25, 2021, they made a breakthrough. Financial records revealed that Danielle had recently taken out a $500,000 life insurance policy on Sam. Even more shocking was a $300,000 transfer from Sam's account to Rick Gallagher shortly after Sam's death. Detective Tara Howard and her team questioned Rick again. This time, they presented the financial records. Under pressure, Rick admitted that Danielle had paid him to lie about being Sam's lover and having AIDS. Rick confessed that none of it was true and that he had agreed to the scheme for the money. This revelation changed the entire course of the investigation. On October 26, 2021, the detectives confronted Danielle with this new information. Danielle initially denied everything but eventually broke down under intense questioning. She admitted to lying about Sam having AIDS to damage his reputation and make herself look like a victim. She also confessed to paying Rick to support her false story. Danielle explained that she felt betrayed and humiliated by Sam's affair with Kevin Lawrence. Her anger and jealousy reached a boiling point, leading her to confront Sam on the night of his murder. During the confrontation, Danielle stabbed Sam multiple times in a fit of rage. She had hoped that framing him as a diseased, unfaithful husband would help her escape suspicion and garner sympathy. Detective Howard and her team now had a clear motive and solid evidence linking Danielle to the murder. On October 27, 2021, they arrested Danielle at her home. She was charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to obstruct justice. As the police handcuffed her, Danielle showed little emotion, as if she had accepted her fate. The news of Danielle's arrest shocked the Santa Clarita community. Sam's family and friends were devastated by the betrayal and the gruesome details of his death. They struggled to understand how someone who had been so close to Sam could commit such a heinous act. Sam's children, in particular, were heartbroken. They had lost their father and now faced the reality that their mother was his murderer. The community rallied around them, offering support and condolences during this difficult time. The police publicly commended the detectives for their thorough investigation. The discovery of Danielle's lies and the financial trail had been crucial in solving the case. The arrest brought a sense of justice for Sam's loved ones, though the emotional scars would take much longer to heal. The trial of Danielle Peters Mitchell began on December 5, 2021, at the Santa Clarita Superior Court. The prosecution, led by District Attorney James Thompson, 50, known for his tenacity and sharp legal mind, presented a compelling case. Thompson argued that Danielle's actions were premeditated and driven by jealousy and greed. He emphasized the life insurance policy and the payment to Rick Gallagher as evidence of her intent to frame Sam and escape justice. On the defense side, attorney Karen Lee, 48, a seasoned lawyer known for her calm and strategic approach, represented Danielle. Lee argued that Danielle had acted in self-defense during a heated argument with Sam. She tried to paint a picture of a desperate woman pushed to the edge by her husband's infidelity and lies. The trial was emotionally charged, with Sam's family and friends filling the courtroom each day. They listened intently as witnesses, including Rick Gallagher and Kevin Lawrence, testified. Rick admitted to accepting money to lie about his relationship with Sam, while Kevin described the nature of his affair with Sam. The prosecution presented the bloody shirt with Daniel's DNA and the financial records as key evidence. Forensic experts testified about the violent nature of the attack, contradicting Daniel's claim of self-defense. The jury was shown photos of the crime scene, which highlighted the brutality of the murder. During the trial, Danielle maintained a stoic demeanor, but there were moments when she appeared visibly shaken, especially during Kevin's testimony. The emotional impact on Sam's children was evident. They watched their mother's trial with a mix of grief and anger, struggling to reconcile the woman they knew with the brutal act she committed. On December 20, 2021, after 2 weeks of testimony and deliberations, the jury found Danielle Peters Mitchell guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to obstruct justice. The verdict was met with a mix of relief and sorrow by Sam's family and friends. They had found some justice for Sam, but the pain of losing him and the betrayal by Danielle remained. The judge sentenced Danielle to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She remarked on the calculated nature of the crime and the lengths Danielle went to cover her tracks. The sentencing brought a sense of closure, but the emotional wounds were still raw. Sam's family expressed gratitude for the support they received from the community and the relentless efforts of the police and prosecution. While justice was served, the scars of this tragic event would remain with them forever. After Danielle Peters Mitchell's sentencing, life slowly began to return to normal for those involved in Sam Mitchell's tragic murder case. For Sam's children, Emma and Jack, both in their early 20s, the road ahead was filled with challenges. They sought solace in their close-knit community of Santa Clarita, finding support from friends and neighbors who had rallied around them during the trial. Kevin Lawrence, the young artist whose relationship with Sam had been at the center of the investigation, tried to focus on his career. He continued to paint and exhibit his artwork in galleries across West Hollywood. The media attention had brought both opportunities and challenges, but Kevin remained determined to build a name for himself in the art world. Rick Gallagher, the real estate developer who had briefly become entangled in the case, retreated from public view. His reputation had taken a hit after admitting to accepting money from Danielle to lie about his relationship with Sam. Despite this setback, Rick continued to manage his business affairs quietly, keeping a low profile in Santa Clarita. As time passed, life in Santa Clarita gradually returned to normal. The leaves turned golden in the fall of 2021, and the community celebrated Halloween with pumpkin